Sergio Perez, now a Grand Prix winner, says that the nature of Formula One's politics means that it's not always the best drivers racing in the sport. I'm Thomas Marr, be sure to like and subscribe for the very latest Formula One news. Sergio Perez became Formula One's most recent new race winner last Sunday after winning the Sakhir Grand Prix. Capitalising on mistakes made by the Mercedes team, Perez recovered from a first lap spin he was hit into by Charles Leclerc to cross the line 10 seconds clear of Renault's Esteban Ocon. Perez is staring down the barrel of unemployment in just a few days' time when the season comes to an end. The Mexican driver was bought out of his existing Racing Point contract a few months ago in order to allow the team to bring in Sebastian Vettel after the German driver himself was ousted from Ferrari. While Racing Point's other driver Lance Stroll has been the weaker performer between the pair this season, it was always likely to be Perez pushed out once the team decided to bring in Vettel. Lance Stroll, owner of the team, is father of Lance, meaning him getting rid of his own son was never particularly likely to happen. Options have run out fast for Perez for 2021, with his hopes solely resting with Red Bull Racing. They're yet to decide on whether to retain Alex Albon or hire externally, although the Sakhir race might just sway them in Perez's favour. With Verstappen knocked out of the race, Albon had the opportunity to shine as their sole driver. Instead, he crossed the line a pretty anonymous P6, while Perez romped his way to victory from last position. Last week, Sergio said that it's Red Bull or nothing for 2021. However, the seat with Red Bull is far from guaranteed, and Perez says he can do no more than he has already. The win just makes me a bit more peaceful with myself, to be honest. What happens is not so much my hands at the moment, but I know and I want to keep going. But if I'm not on the grid next year, I will be back in 2022. Perez explained that the option of sitting out the year was there to give him a chance to see if he really wanted to continue, but that his main priority is to find a seat. I've always said about 22 there was a race, taking a year out at this stage of my career that I am. I never know what's going to happen, if I will have the will to come back for doing that. Bad year, I decide to stop, but after today, after the last couple of races, I'm sort of determined to be here, either if it's next year or the year after. I already have some good options for 22, so my best option is obviously to keep going next year. But if I have to stop, then it's not a disaster. I can come back in 22. The regulations are going to change so much that in a way, I don't think it'll hurt that much, the driving side, to get up to speed. I'm at peace with myself, you know. Sitting beside Esteban Ocon in the press conference, another podium finisher who returned to F1 this year after a season out in 2019 after also being pushed out of Racing Point, Perez said the politics of the sport means that it's not always the best drivers racing in F1. I think Esteban mentioned that drivers like him missing out on seats, so it's just the way Formula 1 is. It can be really tough and not the best drivers are in Formula 1, unfortunately. So we keep pushing and we keep delivering, and I think that's the best way to do it. Sergio's comments are made in light of a few situations at the moment, not just at Racing Point. Callum Ilott, finishing P2 in the F2 Championship behind Mick Schumacher, has said he won't be racing in 2021, not in F1, not in F2, nowhere. He's aiming to stay on F1 sidelines and hopes to find something for 2022. Meanwhile, Nikita Mazepin steps up to Formula 1 and bypasses the Ferrari Junior to take the second seat at Haas alongside Mick Schumacher. It can also be argued that Mercedes aren't hiring the best available to them. After passing over Sebastian Vettel earlier this year, they also decided against pushing for George Russell for next season and instead signed Valtteri Bottas for another year, emphasising their desire to maintain a clear 1-2 dynamic. That's it from me for the moment. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on Twitter at Thomas Marr on F1.